All right, hey, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming to Just a Dude podcast, episode 2. Today we're going to be talking about gaming, why it's important, how it's brought us together, and what it's done for people in their lives. So, Andrew, yes, to answer your question about the music, or to continue about the music that we're currently listening to, this is music done by a personal friend of mine. His name he's under the project known as Veil Walker. Can be found on YouTube and SoundCloud, and he definitely has confidence. But you know, being in the music industry can be confidence breaking, honestly, because even though you're amazingly talented, it takes a lot of luck for you to actually get noticed. And I want to do my part to be able to make sure that he can get noticed because he definitely deserves it. Let's see, I wish there was a way to save his music as a video on my phone. Dude, okay, so here's the thing. You can go to YouTube, right? And there's actually websites for YouTube that allow you to rip the song off YouTube to be able to listen to it. And I get that, but like he's right now he's not necessarily trying to make money from it. He's just trying to get his name out there. So just the fact that you like it means a lot. It does. Hey, what's up, Riot? How are you doing? Alrighty then. So, we're going to be talking about gaming, and while we're talking about gaming, we're going to be gaming a little bit. I got my hands on Valheim a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to play it live on stream. I've been playing it for a little bit, so this isn't necessarily a new file. This is actually the community file that me and my girlfriend play on. So there's already some stuff built up here. But anyways, so let's get on with the podcast subject. Today we're talking about gaming and why gaming is so important nowadays. Now back in the day, I remember when I was growing up, gaming was looked down upon by a lot of people, mainly because people thought, a lot of negative things about it. People thought that gaming um, how gaming made people violent. People thought that gaming helped or people thought that gaming is what made people have ADHD. People thought that gaming was what was taking people's concentration away from education. People thought that gaming was making people less sociable. There were so many misconceptions when it came to gaming that are not believed today in our present day. And it's true because the thing is, it wasn't all those bad things. Gaming has been shown to actually reduce stress in people. Gaming has been shown to help people actually gain social skills. It just there are so many, and especially nowadays, especially today in this day and age, there are so many different types of games out there that you cannot just categorize gaming under under something that's just so benign. Like, oh, games are violent. No, they're not. Games are creative. Games help us explore our emotions. Games help us ground ourselves when we feel so overwhelmed that we can't let it out, but we can in video games. And there's things that people talk about how gaming makes some people antisocial, but I've seen the absolute opposite of that come from gaming. I have seen so many people come together. I have seen communities grown because of gaming. And I've said this in past streams, and I'll say this in this stream, in this podcast, because it's really important. I have seen more generosity and kindness come from the gaming community than I've ever seen come from any other community I have been a part of. And I mean that. I do, because I have been part of theistic communities. I have been part of volunteer communities. I have been part of so many different things, and none of them measure up to the kindness and generosity that I have met in gaming. And see, Andrew West here, he says that he agrees. Gaming brings a lot of people together, grow together. I have friends from Xbox that I've known since 2013, and that's the thing. I have some of my oldest friends that I've met, not from school, not from hanging out outside, but from gaming. There are friends that I have that are probably I've known for maybe almost 20 years now, and that's because of gaming. You know, it it's kind of funny. Like my first experience gaming with other people, because the first game system I ever owned was an Atari. It was a used Atari, and it came from the Goodwill. Now that Atari broke, obviously, because it was old, it was broken, and it worked and it was fun. It was a good introduction to the gaming world. And then, of course, we got our hands on a secondhand Super Nintendo. And me and my brother, we used to love to play that together, even though we got into fights. We played things like Battletoads. Battletoads was one of the first couch co-op games that I played together with me and my brother, and that is some of the biggest connections that I had with him. Even though there were days where we used to hate each other, we used to beat each other down so badly that our parents were worried that we were going to kill each other. But when it came to gaming, that's what brought us together, me and my brother. And exactly how, and Andrew S. here says, of course, exactly how we all met, and now look at us. Exactly, and that's the thing, like, we grew up in an age where gaming was looked down upon, and we watched it grow into this amazing thing that people recognize to be such a positive in people's lives. Now, granted, yes, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. I know that as true, you know. You can't just game all the time 100% because that's not a healthy lifestyle, of course. But nobody here is arguing that. Nobody here is really talking about that. I just had to bring that up because I'm certain that someone in the comments when this is posted on YouTube will say something like that about gaming addiction or something like that. And of course, that's always going to be there. But at the end of the day, that's such a small margin that it's honestly not really worth mentioning because I have the cases that I have seen of gaming addiction that have say ended someone's life. You know, yes, that's true. I have seen. I read the article of the one person in, I believe it was in China. He played StarCraft every day. He played StarCraft pretty much 20, or Warcraft. It was Warcraft. He played Warcraft pretty much 24/7 until he got to the, until somebody went to go check on him and he had passed away. But those are such extreme cases that you can't use those as you can't use that as a bullet point to prove your point. It doesn't work because, like I said, it's an extreme. It's not a regular. And I don't know. I have, if it weren't for gaming, let's put it this way, if it weren't for gaming, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be alive today because gaming has brought me comfort. Gaming has brought me friends that I could talk to, a community that allowed me to actually express my feelings when society didn't allow me to. And I know that sounds weird, but that's just it. That's how a lot of gamers, from anecdotal experience and from people I've talked to, that's how many of them felt about gaming, and that's why many of them turned to gaming to get away from their problems. Is because it created that safe space, and it's a safe space unlike any other because it's not something that you can. It's not something that's. But it's not something that's just there physically. It's something that's ethereal, but it means a lot to so many people. Exactly, the gaming community may be toxic Andrew West here says, exactly, the gaming community may be toxic at times, but there are a lot of amazing people in the community that have genuine, amazing personalities. And that is so true. And, like, here's the thing. People say that WoW has a hugely toxic community, and I would definitely have to agree. There is a hugely toxic community in WoW. But there's also amazingly beautiful communities in WoW. Where else can you hear about an entire server, which probably houses upwards of 1 million people, playing one game, coming together to honor one fallen gamer? Just think about how amazing that is. In something that people thought was so menial, so unimportant, that it was just something that took away from your time. To see something that beautiful happen in something that people thought was a detriment. I mean, how can you say that that's not amazing? How can you look at something like that happening and think that gaming takes away from people when I've seen it give? It's seen it give so much. And there's the thing, like gaming can do so much more than just emotional attachments and bringing people together. It's a training tool. It's a way for people to learn social interactions. There's so many different games out there. There's games out there that literally teach you about social cues. Though some of them might be a little bit extreme, but that's actually the basis of the game itself. And I have seen people use those games to bring themselves out of the dark, to help them get over their anxieties, to help them get over their fears. And in fact, right now, in its current state, gaming is more of a psychological and it's more of a psychological tool for us. Let's see, how's your voice? My voice is thrashed. I'm going to tell you right now, most likely by the end of this podcast, it's going to be completely gone. But I'm okay with that because I wanted to do this podcast because it means so much to me. It does, because gaming has brought so much to my life. It has given me a reason to live. It has given me a dream to look towards. Without gaming, without content creating and streaming, I would not be able to be the person that I am today. And I can say that in full 100% confidence. And Riot here also says another good thing. Also, people often think that gamers may be lazy, but then you look at brands like FaZe Clan that literally started out as a small Xbox clan on Call of Duty. And yeah, that's the thing. You can't call gamers lazy just because they're not working towards the progress that you're working towards. People might have looked at gamers as lazy, but look at what they do. They put hours of their time into succeeding into something, into gaining these trophies, in the game, and to build themselves up, to get the skill. And I'm going to tell you right now, gaming is a skill. I bet you anything, $10, 20, I bet you all of my money in my bank account that you put up a pro gamer and you make someone who thinks, oh, it's just gaming, to go up against them in a match, in a one-on-one match. There is no way that that one person with that thought process would ever be able to match the person who put their entire all into gaining the skill to be called a champion, to be top in their game. And yeah, just because games aren't office paperwork, it's not bureaucracy, doesn't make it lazy. It doesn't take it. If anything, gaming shows what a person's personality is. It accentuates who they are as a person because it allows them to express themselves in a way that they could not do so in the real world. One moment, I do need to take a drink of water. Remember, people, stay hydrated. And it's sad. It's sad how even now, with how far we have progressed with everything and how we view gaming, how we view people's hobbies and vices and how they're important to people nowadays, that there are still people out there that look down on gaming, that will look at you and look at people like me right now at the age of 32, still gaming, and say that, wow, you are wasting so much time. Why don't you grow up? And it's just, I want to look at these people and think like, you have vices, right? You have things you do for fun, right? What is your fun any different from my fun? How is your fun more mature than my fun? Or your escape more mature than my escape? I don't get it. It doesn't make much sense to me at all. And Samurai Dad makes a good point here. You meet much more personal and real versions of people when you game with them. And that's so true. Because gamers, like when you're in front of a screen, when you're gaming, more often than not, they're not worried about putting on a mask. They're just worried about playing the game and having fun. So you can actually learn more about people when you game with them than when you just be with them. Because that anonymity, that screen behind them, brings out everything. It accentuates who they are because it shines. And more often than not, I see goodness in people shine. Let's see. And Andrew here says something else. Let's see. There's a different level of dedication involved in gaming. For example, the completion skin Damascus in Call of Duty. People spent days, even weeks, grinding for the thing that they want. And that is so true. I mean, like, think about the dedication it took. I hate to use this one, but WoW is actually a good example for this. Think about WoW. Think about some of the rare mounts and armors that people have in that game, the epics that they have to equip themselves. Think about how much time and effort that they put into gaining that, and how amazing they felt once they firmly earned that. You can't put a price on that feeling. And that is hard work. That is dedication. It is a dedication that that some people might not understand, but it is dedication that should be looked at with reverence. Because tell you right now, gamers are a different breed. The gamers that are grind gamers, they are a completely different breed. They are dedicated to a point it is scary. Those people are absolutely amazing at what they do. Let's see. And Riot here says people think it's immature because a lot of gaming is mythical, not real, non-realistic, when when really it's just creativity. And that's truth. That's true. That's true. People think it's immature because it's not real. Okay? How real is your fantasy football league? How real is the books that you read to get away from your day? How real are the movies? How real are any of that? Any of our escapes? The whole point of the escapes that we have, the vices that we do, is for them not to be that realistic. Is for us to get into it and get lost in it. And to judge someone for having something that they enjoy is quite asinine, because the only way you have the right to judge someone for enjoying something is the fact that you don't enjoy anything. That you are the epitome of an anhedonic person. I feel like you're a little aggressive, but you're not wrong. Oh yeah, and I can be a little aggressive when it comes to speaking about this, because I have, many of you know, as any of you gamers know, we have dealt with this persecution day in and day out. Not just from our parents, but from our teachers, from our coworkers, from our peers, those that don't understand what gaming is. And it's sad, because we all have things we enjoy. And we can't judge others for what they enjoy. And at the end of the day, we really should be whatever floats your boat, as long as you ain't rocking no one else's. That's how I've always felt about things. Something that you enjoy, that's great. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And like I said, I digress though. I got to get back to the topic of gaming and how it's changed throughout the ages. And it has changed. Because gaming started off as simple back and forth. Then it evolved into platformers, RPGs. And, all of these had somewhat of a violent kind of connotation to them because they're about fighting, they're about defeating your enemy, they're about all of these things. And that's kind of the origins of gaming as it is. But gaming now, gaming today is so much more than just back and forth, fighting, winning. There are so many different things in gaming. There's creating, there's sandbox, there's music, there's artwork. I mean, the amazing thing is nowadays games are more akin to interactive movies. Let's see. And Samurai Dab has this to say: gaming has evolved so much. Kids nowadays see gaming as their dream job. It can no longer be truly deemed as only a hobby or a waste of time anymore. And that's so true. That is very true. Because think about it. Twitch streamers, esports athletes. I'm gonna call them athletes. You can get salty about it if you want, but I'm gonna call them athletes. Esports athletes. Gaming, game production, coding, graphic design, all of these things that have evolved with gaming. You can know it, they are all careers. They're all lucrative careers, especially if you know what you're doing. I mean, you can say that about any career in reality. Any career is lucrative as long as you know what you're doing. The same goes with gaming. Let's see. And Riot here says people are okay with reading books about things that aren't real, but playing a game is more immature because it's not big words on paper. Right? Thank you, Riot. That sums it up perfectly to the people's argument about gaming being immature. Just because it's not words on paper doesn't make it immature. Just because it's images doesn't make it immature. Think about the concepts that we have to deal with in gaming nowadays. The complicated concepts. Just think about Shadow of the Colossus. That's a great game when it comes to thinking about the story and the meanings that it teaches us. You know? And it's so much more than just a simple story. And nowadays, with how gaming has evolved with voice acting and all of these things, gaming is more akin to the movie industry nowadays than it is to anything else. Because you got to think about voice actors for games. A lot of those voice actors for games are now household names, like Matt Mercer. Everyone knows Matt Mercer. At the very least, everyone I know knows Matt Mercer. And his voice is iconic. And his voice has been featured in so many games, and you know it when you hear it. And I can honestly say I have met so many people that have told me that this game or that game changed the way that they viewed life, changed how they thought about things. And people can say that no, the games can't be inspirational. People have said that games can't be inspirational. I've heard that in the past, and I don't understand that. I don't, because the story in certain games can inspire people to do amazing things. Captain Price is the icon. Very true. Very, very true. Bravo 6 going dark. Oh, man. Dude. I and like I'm getting kind of choked up here because I'm thinking about, like what makes gaming so important to some people. Like, what is it? It's the stories, the memories that we make. Those stories are just as valid as the memories you make with your family when you go to a gathering or when you meet your love for the first time. And I will tell you right now, there are so many people that have met their partner, their life partner, through games. And Riot here says games have for sure helped me through a lot, even simple mobile games, and that's so true. Even I can tell you this right now. When I was going through my divorce, it was games. It was gaming that kept me alive. It was gaming that kept me thinking about other things than the fact that I was going through a divorce. And it was the friends that I played with during those times that helped keep me hopeful. Those connections, those people that I would never have known if I didn't have gaming in my life. I would be so alone right now in my life if I hadn't met those people. If I hadn't met people like all of y'all. Y'all who support me on my content. If I hadn't met y'all, I would be so alone. And I wouldn't have met people like you without gaming. What's up, Pat Me? Thank you so much for joining me today, doing my podcast, episode 2 of Just the Dudes, currently talking about gaming. Although we are reaching near the end of the stream, probably going to be up for going for about 15 more minutes because my voice is definitely giving out. But I did want to talk about this. I did want to do this, even though my voice was hurting, because this is such an important subject to me. And honestly, it was a subject that people important to me couldn't understand. My parents, people who said that they loved me, couldn't understand why gaming was so important to me. And why, when they tried to pull me away from it, when they tried so hard to make it so that I couldn't game, why I turned into a person that wasn't happy anymore. It was because I was cut off from the one community that I could actually connect with. And that's why this little segment is a message to any parent who watches this podcast. Don't take away your kids' gaming just because you think it's a waste of time. If your child isn't suffering with schoolwork, if your child is doing okay, then let them be. Let them game. What is it to you that you have to take away their enjoyment because you think they have to play outside? They don't need to play outside. They need to be able to relieve themselves of the stresses that they deal with every single day. And just because they're kids, this is really important, you parents, for you to understand. Just because they're kids doesn't mean they don't deal with stress. Doesn't mean that they're not going through hard times. They might not be going through the hard times that you are going through, but that doesn't take away from their problems. And when you take away their escape, like gaming, you're taking away the one thing that keeps them sane. So keep that in mind when you try to think about your old-fashioned form of discipline when it comes to your children. Please, don't forget how important gaming is. Well, I appreciate that, Pat Me. I know you're busy, but I appreciate you showing up. I appreciate any of y'all who show up, who watch my videos on YouTube, show up to my Twitch streams, check out my TikTok, my Twitter, everything. I appreciate you more than anything. You guys are the reason why I can continue to make my dream come true and continue to work for what I want to work for. I want to. You know what? I'm going to talk about this because this is actually very important to me. The reason why I game, the reason why content creation is my dream, and the reason why I want to make it as a content creator that games is because I want to be able to prove to people that you can make dreams come true. That whenever somebody wants to say, "Oh, gaming isn't a career," that I could be used as an example. That yeah. You can make gaming a career. Yes, you can make dreams come true. Because this Joe Schmo with no talent, with no money, who came from nowhere, made it. And if he can make it, anyone can fucking make it. It's more important to me that that message gets through than anything. Because there are kids like Andrew here has said, there are kids out there with a dream to make gaming a career. And the more of us that make it, that show it and prove that this isn't a waste of time, the more the world shines. And the more those kids have something to look forward to. The more hope there is in the world. That's what's important. That's what means something. And I think that this right here, is a good place for me to end the podcast. After saying that, I do apologize. I wish I could make it a little bit longer, but my voice is dying. Absolutely dying. I have been trying so hard to keep it up, and it's going. It is going really quickly. So I'm going to end the podcast here. I want to say thank you to everyone who participated, who was here in the live stream for the podcast. Andrew, Pat, me, Riot, Samurai Dab, Jared, all of you guys. You guys are fucking amazing. I absolutely love you. I want to thank everyone who supports me, everybody who checks out the podcast on YouTube. Anybody who checks out the podcast on YouTube, if you want any type of subject for me to talk about on my next podcast, for me to add to the list, comment down below. And of course, on YouTube, please remember to share, like, and of course, watch. I appreciate all of y'all. I hope to see you guys again. And this is the end for Just a Dude Podcast, Episode 2. Thank you all, and I will see everyone next time. Bye-bye.